This is My Cup of Coffee, The Trouble with Earl Grey. So this is a visual novel, which means the most important things that are going to be important to me are going to be the graphics and the music. And maybe the sound effects too. Because, let's face it, that's what a visual novel is when you break it all down. Granted, the plot's important too, but I mean, you're going to be spending a lot of time looking at this stuff. Looking at all the options, there's quite a few options for, transitions, skipping messages that you've seen before, after choices. Heck, you can skip all messages, which seems kind of silly because then you're not even you're just making guesses at that point, I assume. But, whatever, we'll jump in and see what's up. There's supposed to be a lot of different secrets. Befriending the Earl, speaking with Lady Grey, the maid's story, collect knowledge, truth about love, and find all the secrets. Then there's a few different endings, and it's supposed to take anywhere between 15 and 45 minutes. Let's see how it goes. As I entered my humble workspace, I could smell the familiar whiff of coffee beans. Cafe latte, founded in 1836 by my late grandmother, Cecilia, and now entrusted to me. Luckily, I inherited her gift for coffee, or my name is not Latte. Horrible name, sorry. Why would you name your kid Latte? You're mean. And my first name, well, that had been passed down to the generations too. Oh boy, so that was her last name. Mocha. Mocha Latte. Is that right? Yes, because I'm an asshole, and I would name my kid that. I had just opened the doors as... Mocha! My first customer showed up in distress. I really need a coffee. Now? I smiled at the slightly disheveled-looking lady and started grinding beans for her espresso. What's the story today? Oh, you don't know? I glanced over at her and noticed something unusual. I beg your pardon, Lady Grey, but where's your locket? My locket? Her hand moved down her neck, and she blushed with a frown. Oh, well, I'm not sure. My husband... Oh, it's terribly boring, and a long story. Never mind. She seemed flustered. I decided not to probe further. The machine had finished pushing hot water through the coffee, so I took my cup away and poured some hot, foamy milk into it. Poor Lady Grey. Perhaps some coffee art will cheer her up. What symbol should I draw? So, if she's having relationship troubles, a heart is probably just mean. Let's do a flower. I drew a beautiful flower. So right now, I should be visualizing the flower, right? I mean, right now I've just been staring at Lady Grey for so long. It'd be nice if, that's where you saw a picture of the flower being drawn in the cup. Lady Grey took the cappuccino and smiled meekly. Thank you. And with that, she sat down and buried her nose in a novel. So I can examine the novel, make conversation, clean the coffee machine. What novel is she reading? I took a cloth and started polishing tables near Lady Grey in hopes of catching a glimpse. Humility and Fairness, a classic, very romantic. I polished the next table. Just as I finished, a new customer came in. Hello. And so the morning rolled into midday. Lady Grey had left, and she finished her coffee. I thought little of it until late afternoon, when her husband, Earl Grey, dragged himself through my door. The Earl looked utterly defeated. Granted, he often looked a bit downtrodden, but today he looked more sorry than that poor old dishcloth my mother refuses to throw away. Good heavens, are you all right? He briefly raised a hand in greeting, before letting it drop. It swung pitifully back and forth. Ah, Mocha Latte. I am fine, thank you. Are you quite sure? The Earl made his way to the counter. Oh, it's been a long day. He looked longingly at the beans in my coffee grinder. The usual? Yes, please. As I made the Earl an Americano, I tried to make conversation. I saw your wife here this morning. She was reading a new book. Earl Grey cast me a somber look. So, somber look. This is where he should cast me a somber look. Well, I guess he always looks somber, doesn't he? Oh, yes. That's all she does these days. Read romance novels. You don't seem too keen. They're, not to my taste, I suppose. They fill a woman's head with idealistic fantasies of what a man should be like. Set unrealistic expectations. Sure, why not? You're the one tipping me. I nodded in agreement. Real life is so much more complicated. Ha! I wish my wife would feel the same. Oh? These days I feel like she's discontented. Keeping the flame alive seems to require superhuman efforts, apparently. He sighs deeply and shrugged. Anyhow, thanks for the coffee. One thing that'd be kind of nice is if kind of these names and such were color-coded, I guess you could say. At a glance, I'm not immediately sure who's talking unless I stare at the name, and they all have coffee-related names, or tea in this case, which kind of means my mind just kind of associates coffee and tea with all the characters, which kind of makes it a little tricky to know immediately at a glance who's speaking, especially because they don't really emote right now, so it might be a good idea to get some color coding or something in there. You got Earl Grey here, maybe he has gray text. You got Latte, that's where you have the brown text. Then I guess you have Mrs. Grey, so a pink gray? I don't know. I don't freaking know. Anyway. He sat down to read the newspaper. I felt a storm brewing. Like a cafeteria of coffee forgotten. I don't know coffee that well. I don't know what that is. At closing time, I kept thinking about the Greys. Something had happened between them. But what? Night passes. But the music stayed the same. So that'd be a good musical transition segment right there. Like, instead of me thinking right there about the Greys, it would have been kind of nicer if maybe that's where everything kind of goes dark and it's like, I went home that night and thought about the Greys. And then you have, like, nighttime music, just a little while to reflect on who they were in the past. Because I don't know anything about the Greys right now. All I really know about them is one's an Earl, and the other one is, an Earl who is lusting for separate love from the other Earl. I don't know, female Earl. But anyway, I feel like that's a good chance for character development right there. just kind of, apparently they're longtime customers of mine. You'd think I'd know something about them, but I personally don't. Hopefully that will reveal itself a little more as time goes on, but would have been a nice time to reflect. When I approached the shop the next day, a familiar face was waiting at the door. It was Maria Darjeeling. Darjeeling? I'm going to say, like a Maria Darjeeling. Okay. It was Maria Darjeeling, a maid who worked for the Greys. Oh, I know where this is going. Good morning, Latte. Nah, it's too old lady sounding. Good morning, Latte. She rested her hand playfully. She rested her hand on her hip playfully. Morning. Morning. You're early today. Her hand rummaged in my pockets, looking for the key to the front door. My hand rummaged into my pocket. Oh, yes. I have come to collect a takeaway order for the Earl's son. The key turned in the lock and the door swung open. I'll have it ready in a moment. I wonder if Maria knows what's going on. I turned to the espresso machine. It always took a while to heat up, so I ground some beans in the meantime. Have the Greys seemed any different to you lately? I guess they're going through a bit of a rough patch. Suddenly her face lit up. Oh, you'd be perfect. Perfect for what? She pouted at me. Why, meditation, of course. I'm not sure I follow. Lord Grey asked me to find someone who could help. I couldn't think of anyone better than you. Should I help the Greys? If I say no thanks, the game might just end here, so I'll just say I'll help. If I can help in any way, I'd be happy to. Wonderful. I shall arrange for the Greys to pay a visit this afternoon. I look forward to it. Things usually quiet down after 2. So what time is it now? So you get a little time here, which is kind of nice, constantly updating. So now it's about 7:45. The maid picked up the takeaway coffee, winked at me, and left. A while later. And suddenly it's almost 2. So that whole day was kind of a wash. Just after the lunch rush, Darjeeling ushered the Greys, both of whom seemed somewhat reluctant. I tried to reassure them with a smile, but it had very little effect. If I want to get to the bottom of this, I'll have to help them get more relaxed. I better be getting a good tip. What should I offer? For relaxing, that'd be chamomile tea. How about a cup of tea? Yes, please. Yes, please. So at the same time, I don't have two voices yet. Working on that. The couple looked slightly shocked as they said the same exact words in unison. I gotta say, that was a nice scene. Now we're getting sound effects. Good sound effects. Good tea pouring sound effects. More like that. Lady Grey adjusted the bow of her neck with a sniff and walked to the other end of the room. Earl Grey, meanwhile, made himself comfortable in an armchair next to the door. Both of them had picked up something to read in almost complete synchrony. Or synchronous. How do you say that anyway? Synchrony? Synchrony. There you go. The Earl has his newspaper, the lady, her novel. I was so interested in the pair that I'd barely noticed Miss Darjeeling joining me at the counter. I can help serve other customers to buy some time if you'd like. Sure. Why not? That would be a great help. Thank you. With everyone in position, I was ready to get to the bottom of the matter. First, I need to find out what's going on. Only then would I be able to answer to, well, whatever it was. Be able to find the answer to whatever it was. I glanced at the clock. It was 10 past 2. I had to figure out what was going on before I closed at 5:30. Alright. First, let's talk to Lady Grey. Don't really know what her problem's all about. Lady Grey had a sour look on her face as she scanned a page in her romance novel. I think she's pretending to read it. Her eyes were drawn to her hand, which was rest on her chest. Knowledge gained, locket. I noticed her locket was still missing. Okay, so there's little knowledge pieces I can get right here. What should I talk to Lady Grey about? How about small talk first? Gotta break the ice, you know? You're wearing a lovely hat today.
Why, thank you so much. So nice to receive a compliment from someone.
I just want to pretend that she lost her larynx in a horrible boating accident involving a sea bass that wasn't quite dead before they ate it. It was a travesty for some people. But anyway.
It is not easy, you know, to select a hat that suits.
I'm afraid I'm not very knowledgeable in that department.
Oh! Well, if you need to go hat shopping, if you need any help shopping, I would be more than happy to assist.
I shall keep that in mind. Alright, that's enough small talk. Right to the locket. I noticed your locket is still missing?
Yes, well, it's not exactly missing. My husband took it and never gave it back.
Do you know why?
No.
She frowned and glanced over at the maid.
But I have my suspicions.
Ladies are crazy. Alright, let's back out of this. Alright, let's see. Let's see if Darjeeling has a pendant on. She seems pretty relaxed. Small talk. So, what's been happening at the Grey household? The cook burned a chicken the other day. It was meant to be a feast. We were so gutted. I raised an eyebrow. Gutted for dinner? She turned red. Not literally, of course. The Greys aren't cannibals. No, that was kind of mannish. I can't do that. Anyway, we both burst into laughter. What should I talk to her about? Let's say love. So, have you accepted any courtship? Wouldn't you like to know? She blew me a kiss. Alright, how about the locket? Did you notice Lady Grey's locket is missing? Her eyes widened. Is it? Well, I guess I did notice, but I have no idea where it went. She blushed and turned away from me. Alright. So, Mr. Earl Grey has given the locket to Darjeeling, I'm betting. Lord Grey shifted uncomfortably as I looked in his directions. His fingers were tapping rapidly against his knee. So, nice weather today, don't you think? Yes, I suppose it is. It makes a change from all the rain we've been having lately. I like all weather. Each type has its own charm. Milky white winters, caramel autumns, Herbal tea summers. First of all, winter is coming, and we don't fuck around with winter. We know those White Walkers are coming. Anyway, the Earl cracked a smile. So, Mr. Earl Grey, tell me a little about yourself. What would you like to know? I don't know. Anything. Hobbies? I do rather like to read. The news, mostly. Anything else? Scientific journals. What about sport? I like to watch football. From a distance. We support Assam United. Who's we? Oh, did I say we? I meant I. That didn't seem particularly useful. But he seems a little more relaxed. And how about that there locket? I was wondering, have you noticed your wife's locket is missing? The Earl looked momentarily shocked, but regained his composure quickly. No, not really. His expression was completely blank, almost excessively so. How about love, buddy? Love is a difficult topic to talk about out of the blue, especially with the Earl. I hope I'd hope I'd make him sufficiently eased to speak about it. So, how long have you been married? Oh, a long time. Nearly 37 years, in fact. I thought she'd be dead by now. No, sorry. That wasn't there. Just my mind. Do you ever regret it? The Earl was silent for a moment, contemplating the question. No, I don't believe I do. Took him a little while there. So time is moving forward. We close at 5. I gotta figure this all out or nothing. Alright, Darjeeling. Winked at me playfully. Tell me a little bit about yourself. She winked at me. I'd bet you'd like to know all kinds of things. Well, yes. Don't worry. I won't bite. She gave me a dazzling smile. The maid seemed to feel a bit more relaxed. I couldn't think of anything new to ask. How about the Earl? So, you work for the Greys, right? What's the Earl like? He's a very kind gentleman. Okay, I don't know why I put that part in, but anyway. I feel a little sorry for him. He always looks so lonely. Isn't that just good northern socialism? Or stoicism, rather? I think that's what he looks like on the surface, but when you get a little closer, you can see the loneliness inside him. What should I talk about? Alright, so I feel like I know what happened with the locket, but let's go talk to Mrs. Grey over here. Lady Grey kept tugging at the fabric of her dress, nearing her heart. Let's talk about Mr. Grey. Oh, I had to make sure she was comfortable enough first. Apparently she was. Lady Grey glanced briefly at him. Humph!
I would change the topic for now.
I noticed the time. An hour had gone by so quickly. What should I talk about? How about blah, 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 blah. How about the maid? So what do you think of Miss Darjeeling? She looked uncomfortable.
Why do you ask?
Oh, just out of curiosity. She sighed deeply.
Well,
she sighed again.
I suppose she's very young and cockney-ish.
So, I've noticed.
If I'm honest, I'm not sure she's the right fit for our household. But seeing as I have no power over our staff, we're stuck with her for the better or the worse.
Well, ain't that too bad. So, let's see about love again. Anything? So, you've been married a long time. Lady Grey glanced briefly at her husband. I should change the topic for now. Wow, that took a little while. I can do small talk again. How's the book? Looked up from novel.
Oh, it's splendid. Absolutely splendid.
Sounds like a good read.
Oh, yes. Very good indeed.
More small talk might break the ice. I don't know. How's your uncle?
He's doing well. How kind of you to ask.
Okay, no more small talk. That's eating away all my time. How about the locket again? How do you know your husband took it?
Oh, never mind.
I should come back to this when she's more at ease. Can I pour her coffee or anything? Let's see. How about Lady Grey? Tell me about Lady Grey, Lady Grey. I've always thought of you as an intriguing woman, if I do say so myself. Her face lit up.
Oh, really?
Could you tell me more about yourself?
Goodness, I don't know where to start.
Have you always liked Have you always lived in Teesside? The place is called Teesside? Why are you doing this to me?
Oh, heavens no! I grew up in London, actually.
So what brought you here?
Well, I came out of finishing school. I met a handsome young man. At my coming-of-age ball, we danced 2 times! 2 times! And he even asked for a 3rd dance, which I obviously rejected. The slut!
Why?
Oh, you're such a simple soul, Mocha. Bless you. In high society, it is considered complete scandal if an unmarried woman dances with a man more than twice. Naturally, that had to be remedied. So we got married, and then the 3rd dance was insane. Oh, the babies I had 9 months later.
What am I doing? So the young man...
Yes, the Earl of Devonshire. He became my husband.
Hence you coming to Teesside. It all makes sense. And now she's banging the maid.
Indeed.
Alright, I got some knowledge about her. Let's head back to Mr. Earl Grey over here and try to rekindle some of that there love. He's reclining in his armchair. He looked a bit lonely. What is the secret to a happy marriage? The Earl shrugged and responded, "Dance with her 3 times!" I should change the topic for now. Let's talk about the maid. Tell me about your maid, Miss Darjeeling. Lovely girl, works hard. What about her personality? She's very, exuberant when she dances, especially the 3rd time. Do you like her? Yes, very much so. The Earl blushes a little. Where's the blush? Show me the blush. You know, it's funny. My wife has been asking similar questions lately. I wonder if she's up to something. Let's see. I couldn't think of anything new to ask. Wait a minute, did I see? Okay, no, that didn't take up any time. Let's talk about Lady Grey. Tell me about your lovely wife. Well, she's my wife, and, what would you like to know? What do you like about her? The Earl blushed slightly as he struggled to find the words. What sort of question is that, anyway? She's my wife! What else is there to say? She's my property! I danced with her 3 times! Isn't it clear? Small talk. Have you heard about Assam United? Have I heard of it? Have I? Who hasn't? I was very surprised. Me too. What about him? I don't know. What about him? Did some scandal happen with them in the 1800s? I don't know. Okay, Locket. I couldn't think of anything new to ask. Anything new about Earl Grey? Done with this topic. So, one nice thing is, if the answer is going to be just that I have nothing new to say about it, one thing you could do is just not have the selection there at all. Or another thing you could do is have it be, like, grayed out, so you can't even... you can still click it, and you'll get that response, but the gray out will let you know before you click it that there's nothing more to discuss on that. Alright, let me go talk to Darjeeling. Miss Darjeeling winked at me playfully. Have you been... That's me. Have you been following the news? I've been keeping an eye on the state of the economy. It's all down to small businesses. I heard about that. She's very insightful for her, dancingness. What should I talk to her about? How about Mr. Earl Grey? Can't think of anything new. Lady Grey. What can you tell me about Lady Grey? Not much, if I'm honest. She's a well-respected woman, well-liked in the community, as you know. At Bergamot Manor, all the staff speak highly of her. I don't think she likes me very much, though. Oh? Why not? I don't know. What should I ask her? How about love? Couldn't think of anything new to ask. How about the locket? Can't think of anything new to ask. How about herself? I'd love to get to know you better. Tell me about yourself. She smiled at me. I'm a maid. It's no big secret. No, really. Do tell. Couldn't have guessed with the outfit. But did you know that before I took this role, I went to university? What? Really? You? But how? Which part of it? How could I afford it? Or how did a woman do it? The latter, I suppose? Well, it wasn't easy. I submitted a number of essays to support my application. All were rejected. But then I submitted them under a man's name. And it's kind of amusing, actually. Not only did I get a welcome letter, but they asked if one of the essays could be published in a journal. No! Can you imagine their faces when they realized what they'd done? I laughed as I pictured the confusion among the frizzy-haired professors. Those old white assholes. Anyway, obviously, they were so embarrassed that they had no choice but to allow me to stay. She gave me another wink. So there you go. You know, that's one of my little secrets. One of her little secrets. She's also a good dancer. Okay, can I talk about her again? What happened after university? She smiled to herself, as if remembering something pleasant. Well, I ran out of funds, I suppose. Before you could get your degree? Oh, no. I got a master's in economics. She smirked at me and rested her hand on her hip. So why is she a maid? But a female banker? Who has ever heard of that? A lot of people these days, I guess. Why don't you let... Oh, they don't let you enter the stock exchange either, for that matter. Sounds frustrating. It would be, if not for the fact that I really enjoy my work. She gave me a sweet smile, almost as if daydreaming. Oh, come on, we know you're banging him! Can't think of anything else to say. Alright, so she's tapped out except for small talk, which is just going to waste time, so... How about Earl Grey? Did I hit all the big things with him? Nothing to say. What's the secret to a happy marriage? He shrugged. Oh, it's the same thing again. Let's change the topic for now. So I have an hour left. Oh boy. Lock it. Couldn't think of anything else to say. Let's go talk to Lady Grey. Lady Grey was reading her novel still. Tell me a bit about the Earl.
Delightfully...
I already forgot the voice.
Delightfully handsome, stubborn, never listens.
What would I do?
Here's a catch, all right?
There we go.
If you can keep him.
What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
I don't know why I'm being so mean to her. She's clearly distressed. How about herself? Can't think of anything else to say. So have you been married a long time?
It certainly feels like a long time sometimes. But 36 years? That's nothing when you compare to the grand scheme of things. I'll be with the man till death do us part. Though some days, I wonder if death might not be a charming stranger. I'm going to poison the Earl.
I like her laugh.
Goodness me, I didn't mean that in a morbid way, of course.
I nodded for her to continue.
I've been reading these novels by Anne Justine, you see. And the love interests are always so attentive. They make the heroine feel like the only woman in the world. Sometimes I wish it was me. So I'm going to poison him and find someone who will be like that.
I really should stop doing that. Couldn't think of anything else to say. Listening to what you've been saying, it sounds as though it's been hard to keep your husband's attention. She glanced briefly at her husband. I should change the topic for now. How do you know your husband took the lockets?
I saw it with my own eyes.
You saw him take it?
Well, not exactly. I saw him give it to the maid.
Miss Darjeeling?
The very same.
Alright, Miss Darjeeling, you got some splaining to do. Winking playfully at me. I know your game. Are you sure you don't know where the locket went? She looked uncomfortable. I have an eyewitness. No, it's me. I have an eyewitness who said it was given to you. Oh, very well. The Earl gave it to me. She looked relieved after the confession. Why did you hide it from me? I was told not to tell a soul about it. I see. Well, Mr. Grey, reclining in your armchair. How about the lockets, sir? About the lockets. He ignored my attempts. The weather is nice today, isn't it? Yes, not lockets, but weather. It's nice. I should try some easier topics. How about some small talk? How about them Knicks? What's in the latest news? He looked at the newspaper. Captain Chino, my god. Captain Chino is back in town. Ha! How about more small talk? Is the butler feeling better? Oh, he's seen better days, but also worse. One day I gave him quite a rapping in the back, because he misplaced my luggage, you see. Yes, I needed that luggage, so I can go to a nice little cabin in the woods and cheat on my wife. Yes. I mean, nothing. He'll be better soon, I'm sure. How about Lady Grey? Nothing to say. Earl Grey, nothing to say. The maid, nothing to say. The locket. Ah, here we go. I heard you gave it to the maid. The Earl looked around uncomfortably. Oh, all right, I did. I gave it to Miss Darjeeling. Why did you give it to the maid? For polishing, of course. That's not the answer I expected. Polishing? Well, yes. Our wedding anniversary is coming up. It's a very important keepsake. I gave it to her the night I danced with her the third time. Will you give the locket back to your wife? Well, I was planning on it, but she hasn't even noticed it's gone. She hasn't? No, she never asked me about it. Oh, look at that. That is angry eyes right there. There might be a reason for it. I'm running out of time, but I've gotten to the bottom of all this. Alright, let me go talk to her. Maybe that'll clear all this up. What if your husband took the locket for a good reason?
I can't think of any good reason why he'd take it behind my back.
Good point. But I have a good... I can give you a good... Okay, well, I have two more... It takes 5 minutes to do each of these. I have two more guesses who I need to talk to for this. I just want to tell her directly, but let's try Earl Grey once more. Just say, give it back. Nope, done with that topic. Maybe have the maid give it to her? So do you have the locket? No, I gave it back. Back to whom? The Earl, of course. He gave it to me for polishing in the first place. Polishing? Yes, for their wedding anniversary. Right. Cast a glance at the clock. I have one last question. So, I guess the Earl, right? That would make the most sense. So, he needs to give it back to her. Nope. So, hopefully talking to Lady Grey is the right answer. Why don't you ask your husband about the lockets?
I want to give him the opportunity to come to his senses.
No! I'm screwed. So, she's not going to go just talk to him. Ah, damn it. He may be passing his affections... Oh.
He may be passing his affections to the maid, but I am his wife!
She gets angry.
One day, he will realize what he is doing and give the locket back to me!
It was 5:30. Time to wrap it up. Well, I had listened to the Greys and Miss Darjeeling what they had to say, but now I had to make a decision. If I help the Greys understand their differences, would they be happy together? Or would they be better off apart? But they're fine! Yes, divorce each other. I mean, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that it's not a fair because, for one thing, the maid knew that she was polished, or that it was being polished the same way that the Earl knew. So that obviously tells me that they weren't lying unless they were, like, really planning this for the long con. Planning on holding on to that locket for life, and if anyone ever asked, oh, it's just out for polishing. It's just out for polishing, dear. So, yeah. Anyway. I decided to help the Greys. I know this isn't the easiest option, but I felt it was the right one. I had to deal with this affair business. Was the Earl unfaithful? No. The Earl may be innocent, but what about the maid? She's innocent as well. Unless the Earl didn't get the locket back. I don't really know that, but I'm assuming. Then there was the locket. It proves the Earl loves his wife. It proves the Earl hates his wife. Proves Lady Grey loves her husband. Obviously, it proves the Earl loves his... Well, it proves they love each other, really, but the whole missing factor of the locket proves the Earl loves his wife, so I'm going to say that. Alright, let's all sit together in one table. Would anyone like a cup of tea before we start? Because I'm going to start accusing the hell out of people here. Yes, please. Yes, please. The Greys answered in unison. They shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. I'm fine, thank you. I served the Greys their tea. Alright, where to begin? Let's start with the missing item. I cast a glance at Lady Grey's direction, wondering if she'd speak up about the locket, but her lips remained tightly sealed. Then I looked at Earl Grey, too. He refused to speak. Earl Grey had told me he would not give the locket back until his wife had noticed it was gone. I couldn't just declare Lady Grey knew about the locket. He'd never believe it. If only I could coax Lady Grey into a confession. Lady Grey has reason to believe her husband has been unfaithful. What? I would never! Lady Grey glared at him. My lady, could you recount what you've seen?
I saw you give the locket to the maid!
You mean you knew it was gone?
Of course I did! You gave it away! How could you?
But I only did it to get it polished.
And why would I believe your excuse?
Well, our 37th wedding anniversary is coming up. I wanted to surprise you.
Well, fine. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Lady Grey blushed and turned to Ray. This proves I love you, Lady Grey. Oh, wait, this proves the Earl loves you, Lady Grey.
How so?
He wanted to make sure your precious keepsake was polished in time for your anniversary.
I suppose.
Now I need to clear up this affair business. I was pretty sure both the Earl and the maid were innocent. Lady Grey's insecurity in combination with the few unfortunate events caused her to imagine infidelity. But how can I prove it to her? Perhaps I should start by tackling her lack of confidence. Lord Grey, what do you think of Miss Darjeeling? The Earl seemed confused. I don't understand why you're asking this out of the blue. I'd like to dance with her over and over and over again 3 times! Anyway. There's a point. Trust me. Well, she's a valuable staff member. And what do you think of your wife? Well, she's a valuable staff member. She's my wife. What else is there to say? Let's see. Do you remember when you first met her? What did you find attractive? Of course I remember. I thought she was beautiful, strong, intelligent woman, and she was independent. And now? Nothing's changed. She's still my sparkling jewel. He said it with a soft, tender expression. I looked over at Lady Grey, who had tears in her eyes.
Bernie, that's the first time you said that in years. In years!
That's because nothing has changed in years?
Oh, Bernie, you silly old Miss Darjeeling.
Miss Darjeeling, are you in love with anyone? The maid seemed surprised. Yes, I am. And could you describe this person? She hesitated, casting an uncertain glance at Lady Grey. He's an intelligent man, strong, handsome, beautiful, blonde hair, and blue eyes. Where did you meet this person? Well, I met him at Oxford. He was a football player for the local team. I glanced over at Lady Grey, to see if she understood where I was going with this.
He sounds like a wonderful young man.
I hope you find happiness together. The maid blushed and said nothing. When my eyes met Lady Grey's gaze, she gave me an appreciative nod. It was time to move on to the final topic. The symptom of the problem had been solved, but not its roots. It is clear to me that you two love each other, but it is not clear to you. This is because... I don't freaking know. Lord Grey never shows it. No, Lord Grey never tells Lady Grey. Okay. Well, technically they never talk to each other. That's really it. They just never talk. They show each other, like he did the locket, but they don't really tell each other, so there you go. You may love each other, but you never tell each other so.
I tell my husband plenty. He is the one with the problem.
Actions speak louder than words! Fuck, I screwed up. Can I go back? I meant to say... Lord Grey never tells. Lady Grey never shows. That's the moral of the story. You both have styles of affection. Lady Grey is good at telling others how she feels. She told me she finds you very charming and handsome. I am sure she lets you know she loves you through words every day. The Earl blushed a little. Well, yes, but... Lord Grey, on the other hand, is better at making feelings known through actions. He works to make sure you are able to buy any luxury you desire. He thoughtfully polishes that locket you treasure.
But he never says he's doing it for me! For love! For love!
Precisely. I am wrong in saying that you, Lady Grey, would prefer to hear him say I love you over any gesture.
I do.
And you, Lord Grey, would you not prefer that Lady Grey mended a sock or cooked a meal over any compliment she pays you?
Verily so! Now get back in the kitchen!
The couple looked at each other thoughtfully.
Aggie, I'm sorry.
I felt you would have much... Bleh. I felt you would know how much I love you by how well I treated you. I thought that for the last 36 years, I have not understood how you felt.
Oh no, Bernie, it is me who is sorry. I shouldn't have understood you better. I didn't recognize your efforts.
Miss Darjeeling and I exchanged a nod, and she stood up. Please excuse me. The Greys continued their discussion as I mopped the floor in preparation for closing time. When they left, they both thanked me with a smile. 1 year later. As a month passed, I saw the Greys often. The change was slow and gradual, but the couple grew closer and closer with time. Ah, I think that's them now.
Hello, Mocha.
Hello, Mocha. Good morning, my lord, my lady. The usual. What do you think, dear?
Shall I try something different? A new experience? Together?
Oh, I like the sound of that.
What have you got, Lady Mocha? There's this new tea. I served their order, and they sat down on the sofa together. It's zesty.
Zesty, with a hint of sweetness.
Earl smiled warmly at his wife.
Just like you, my dear.
Just take a hint. I am the very definition of sweetness itself.
She poked him playfully with her fan.
You see? Zesty. That's what I love about you.
Lady Grey blushed and took his hand. She leaned in and put her head on his shoulder. They're the happiest couple I knew. Ending unlocked, happily ever after. Okay, and that was my cup of coffee, The Trouble with Earl Grey. So this was made by one person, 2 people, I guess, actually. Very cool. 3 people, I guess, even better. With some intro music and other music and mostly free music. But anyway, so what did I think about it? Honestly, I think there should have been more graphics, like, more actions happening. When things happen, people should react, Maybe it doesn't have to be a huge reaction or anything. But yeah, any kind of reaction for a lot of these actions that are occurring would be really nice. Overall, though, the graphics were nice. The dialogue was really well written, actually. I gotta give complete props to that. My voices were obviously mainly just to joke and liven things up, but I did think that I could actually get a feel for the characters as they were going. Not really my kind of game, but even still, I enjoyed it. I generally don't go in for the romantic visual novels. Usually you see me playing something like 999 or Virtue's Last Reward or something like that. But this was great. Yeah, great work. That's all I can really say about it. Aside from getting a few more graphics in there, maybe a different backdrop for some situations, a little more music, some more sound effects. The sound effects were nice when they happened, but there weren't that many. She just added those like a little while ago, so that's fine. Overall, great work. Keep it up. Thanks for the presentation of this game, Steam Grill.